Today we have a legendary guest, a Grand Prix podium championship runner-up in 2008. It is the one and only Felipe Massa.
Let's go.
Singapore race was one race. Lewis had performed better in similar races.
That season I won more race and more pole position than Lewis. My son came to me and he said, "You are the champion."
Did you anticipate that if something went wrong?
Everything is part of the sport. Manipulation is not part of the sport. The biggest manipulation case and nothing happened. And I lose my championship.
You were teammates with Michael Schumacher.
Michael was I was really a big fan of him.
For an experienced driver like you, what advice would you give someone like Logan Sargent or Nick DeVries?
It's only you that can maybe change the working to show the people that you can do the job.
If you become the champion for 2008, 2021 then, does Lewis get to potentially appeal that?
Hey guys, hope you're excited for our episode with Felipe. Before we start, we want to give a big shout out to one of our partners, Hantec Markets. They're not just any trading partner. They have been empowering traders for over 30 years, providing access to global financial markets through their trusted platform. Whether you're starting out or a seasoned trader, Hantec Markets supports you on your trading journey, providing expert guidance and helping beginners become savvy investors through their financial education and unrivaled support system. Choose a partner who puts clients first and get ready to unlock global trading opportunities with Hantec Markets.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Track Limits podcast presented by Formula Addict. We are all here in Miami. Mikey, Henny, and I Swish. And today we have a legendary guest, an individual that has raced from 2002 to 2017 in F1, an individual that has had quite a number of Grand Prix podiums, was a championship runner-up in 2008, and on top of that has also raced in other categories like Formula E and Stock Car Brazil. It is the one and only Felipe Massa.
Let's go. Welcome. How are you?
Thank you. Yeah, it's great. Really nice to be here with you guys. And I'm sure, we're going to have a great conversation and history, about Formula One, but also my life inside motorsport.
Absolutely. And this whole podcast, we break up Felipe into three sections, Q1, Q2, Q3.
All right.
And we're going to see.
Let's start on Q1. Fresh set of time.
There you go. There you go.
So Q1, actually, first question, even before we go into your life in motorsport, I just want to hear how are you doing? What projects are you involved in right now? Like, what is Felipe Massa up to right now?
Well, I'm doing great. Definitely. I had a great time in my career in Formula One to achieve so many and so much great things, dreams, hard work, but actually I had a lot of fun. I think I learned a lot meeting many people, different countries, working with different people as well, learning language, and I think it was a great life experience. What I had, my career starting since I was a kid, and now so I'm really enjoying my life. I moved back to Brazil 2 years ago, so it was a time to go back home with my family. So we used to live in Monaco for 15 years.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And it was a time, I think we all agreed that it was a time to go back. And we are so happy. Also, my son, that is 13 years old, so he really loves Brazil.
Yeah.
So he was never leaving Brazil, but he really loves Brazil, and he does not miss, Monaco or Europe. Or for sure, we go for holidays, sometimes. I have some other things that I'm doing, a part of racing in the stock car. It's a really nice championship, very competitive. Oh, yeah. So we have 30 cars fighting for 1 second.
Wow.
So it's really high level in terms of the drivers. And for sure we are growing, getting better all the time. So I had 2 podiums this season. It's not still enough what I want, but we have some good ideas, for the future to be fighting for victories and also for the championship, which this is definitely the target. Yeah. Still loving racing, that's why
that's the main thing.
You're still in
the blood.
Yeah.
Nothing you can do until you're really happy to be part of the racing competition. But I also have other things, other jobs, that I'm doing. I have a restaurant in Brazil, which is Beef Bar, that I bring from Monaco, to São Paulo. And it's really a big success.
Yeah.
in São Paulo. We are opening the second restaurant now, Chinese, which is also part of the same group from Monaco, which the name is Sonki.
Okay.
We are going to open now November.
Nice.
I hope we'll be ready to open in November.
Nice.
In São Paulo, both.
Yeah.
And I have some other things as well. So I'm partner of a company which calls Oakberry. They do acai. They also, have a
Sponsorship
store,
of Hacks, right?
a store,
Yeah.
and they have a store in Canada as well.
Oh, okay.
So really growing massively, outside of Brazil, in US, in Europe. So in Australia, is really very famous. So I'm partner of this company as well.
Yeah.
And enjoying life,
Nice.
having fun, and that's what I'm doing now.
Yeah. And this is an answer that I think everyone wants. 15 seasons in F1. If given the chance, would you go back and take a seat in F1?
Well, I think you have the speed. The speed is in the blood.
Yeah.
The love. I always watching the race. I always following Formula One. But I think I had my time. So I'm really. I think when you stop your not career, but I mean in Formula One is like kind of a retirement. When you stop that, you need to be sure in your mind that is that you're ready for that. Because I think in sport it's very difficult to retire.
Of course.
Because you are still very young.
Yeah.
So when you 37 years old and you said, "Oh, I'm retiring," so you are really young.
Yeah.
So you need to be sure in your mind that it's the time to do other things. It's the time to look for other things, And I had that 100%. I had that already in 2016 when I decided to retire. I had that in mind, but then Nico Rosberg decided to stop his career. Williams was pushing me to do another season, so I decided to do another season because I was in the good shape. I was feeling good. For that, I wanted to drive the car with a lot more downforce.
Of course.
Was a big change from 16 to 17. So, but I think, inside my mind, I was ready to stop.
Yeah.
And I think that helps me a lot to look for other things, to do other things, and to, not be frustrated. Because I think you so many cases, when the someone from the sport, decided to retire, but then he didn't do anything. He was like frustrating, have that in mind, and couldn't really help, to open your eyes for other things, to do other things. And I think this is very important for in the sport, to be sure that is the time, and you really, ready for other things. And I was exactly like that.
Yeah. And what was the most important lesson you learned throughout your whole F1 career that you can tell? Yeah.
So I think, working with different people, different nationalities, living in different places, it was a really hard work, difficult, because I'm Brazilian, so I live all the time in Brazil, but then it was a time to leave my country with no money. So I think it's also important to say that it's a sport that you need money to race. It's a very expensive sport. So I was not on that side, daddy, pay the best thing, pay for the best possibility for my career. So I had to really fight, for sure, together with my dad and together with so many people that helps me to find a way to race. So I moved Brazil. I didn't have money. I have money to do only 6 races of the Italian Championship of Formula Renault, and it was 10 races. So I had a car, which was an Opel Astra in Brazil. I was 18 years old. So I sold the car. That the money from the car was the money that I had to live, in Europe. So actually it was like that. So my career, my life on that moment. But I had a big dream, So, and I think the dream that I had, it was the most important thing to really, I go to a different country. I ready to learn, but the most important thing is my dream. And I think that really helps to work hard. So at the end, I did 2 championships, Italian, European. I won both in the same year. So that was the most important year of my career, because
that's impressive.
Everybody says, in Formula One, the first year. No, every year is a big hard work, and you need to prove yourself, show every day. Every race, every testing It's like your life is like showing, you know, what you're able to do all the time. But 2000 was the most important year of my life because, you know, it was the only chance I had
of getting in.
So and maybe after 6 races I could have go back home and my career was going to be finished. So it was like you know, the only opportunity to show who I am, going to a different country, arrive there and winning like almost everything. So and then I think that shows that, I mean, this kid is
there's something there.
He's here for a while. Because you've had a great career. You've had 11 Grand Prix victories. Of those victories, which stands out the most to you?
Oh,
all of them is special, you know, definitely. But yeah, I mean, I think for sure you guys know winning in Brazil, winning
iconic
at home, you know, in the place that I grew up, in the place that I was going to the grandstand, you know, to support Ayrton Senna and the Brazilian drivers, and like having the dream, oh, hopefully one day I can be there. So and then I arrived there on my first year as a Ferrari driver with a very unique, iconic situation by wearing a race suit, you know, with the green and yellow color, with the Brazilian color. That was like, and then I start the first session. I was really bad. I was, I don't know, maybe 9th or 11th. I don't remember so much. The car was really completely oversteer to drive. We changed completely the car. The second session, I was leading. I was first.
Rocket,
So then pole position. Then I won the race with Michael Schumacher as my teammate. Like also he decided to stop his career. It was everything was just perfect you know, for me on that race. And winning at home, I never felt that in my life. Also, I think, you know, the answer for that is like when don't know if you guys remember, because you guys really young, but when Ayrton Senna won in Brazil for the first time,
right?
And he was trying all the time. He was never managed. You know, he was never able to win. And he had already some titles in the pocket, you know. So when he won in Brazil the first time, he was screaming much more than when he won the championship for the first time. So at the end, it shows how special was that race in 2006 for me, winning with Ferrari with the yellow and green race suit and at home with Brazilian. It was just an amazing feeling. You know.
I don't even know if we can replicate that feeling.
But you can see you're so happy when you talk about it. It comes across so genuine.
Yeah. Well, it is. I mean, actually, it's difficult to describe, you know, the feeling, but it's like a dream come true. So I really achieved my dream. And I think that was really the most incredible, unique feeling that I had in my life.
And then in 2008, obviously, I mean, there's a lot of spotlight on this topic right now. I'm curious, obviously, you had a very close title battle with Lewis. And obviously, you know, there is a lot of talk that's going on about this issue. I think one of the first questions I was actually curious about was, what were some of the reasons why you guys were so competitive and so successful in that year? I'm actually curious, like, why do you think you guys were so successful in 2008?
Well, it was not only that year.
Yeah.
So it was 2006. We were very competitive. It was my first year with Ferrari. You know, we fight with Renault until the last race of the season. Michael fight with Fernando until the last race of the season. Unfortunately, he had a problem in Suzuka that has an engine failure that took him away of this. Not completely away, but almost, you know, away of the fight into the last race in Brazil. So, and 2007 was the same. So 2007 was an amazing championship that starts from the beginning to the end, a big fight, you know, between Ferrari and McLaren, with Lewis and Fernando and me and Kimi, you know, with Ferrari. And also that year was a year that, you know, sometimes you say bad luck. There is a bad luck or not in Formula One. Maybe that year I can say yes. So I had a really bad luck because we had a deal. I changed a little bit the argument, but I think it's just part of the we had a rule inside the team in Ferrari that until the race in Spa, you guys free to fight.
Okay.
After Spa, we will have a number 1 and number 2 driver in case we are fighting
Need it,
championship. But I think it was really nice to have that rules inside the team. So the race before Spa was Monza. I was 4 points in front of Kimi, the championship. I started in front of him in the Monza race. I was better than him. He was not in a good shape also in that race. So I was third. Lewis was second. Kimi was fourth. So I was catching Lewis, and I had maybe a possibility to pass him. In the worst case, I was going to finish third.
Yeah.
So we were going to go to Spa, me with 6 points in front of Kimi.
Right.
So Kimi, in Spa, I was on pole. He was second. He won the race. I was second.
Yeah.
But I'm sure with 6 points in front, everything would have been different.
line.
You know?
Yeah.
So definitely after that, I was the second driver, and Kimi. After Monza, I retired in Monza.
Yep.
So and he started with maybe 2 points or something in front of me in Spa, and he won the race.
Right.
So after Spa, he was the number 1 driver.
Damn.
So everything would have been different.
Yep.
You know,
If that didn't
in
happen.
case I didn't have to retire the car for a third spring locked,
Yep.
you know, in the car. So I had to retire. And that was definitely a bad luck.
Of course.
You know, one race before Spa, especially, you know, starting on pole position in Spa, for sure the team would have changed also their mind for Kimi to help me. So, but you know, this was definitely a bad luck I had on that season.
Yeah.
And 2008 was another season that you know, we were fighting from the beginning to the end of the season. You know, with McLaren, with Lewis, and but it was not the only season. You know, the only year that we were fighting. So I think I would say 6, 7, and 8 was amazing for the sport, because it was always 2 teams fighting. It's not normal in Formula 1. You know, so, you know, unfortunately, this year is also I think the police is. This year is a show that maybe the championship will finish very, very soon.
Oh,
The team is already, you know,
Ahead,
was decided, but the driver championship will finish very soon.
Right.
But this is normal in Formula 1. So I think it's more normal to have a year that finish earlier than expected.
Exactly.
Instead of having a
Title battle.
Yeah.
Like
you know,
all the way to the
straight battle, you know,
At the
between
end,
drivers and teams.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, you know, it's a bit normal, you know, in Formula 1. Like
Yeah, and let's talk about 2008 Singapore GP, the scandal, the Crashgate. It's a hot topic, especially now that more newer fans are finding out about this, and I think we all agree there was a huge scandal there. Now, in your time after the race ended, did you anticipate that there's something went wrong, or is it something you found out later on?
No, it was for sure very strange. You know, the teammate crash, and you know, Fernando was last and he won the race. I mean, everything was really strange. You know, but we didn't have any proof that he was manipulated. You know, so I was always, you know, a driver that I always respect. You know, the people. I always respect the rules, and I never thought, you know, this, maybe I was too nice, you know, but it's the way I am. I never thought it was really a massive manipulation situation, which this is not part of the sport.
No, it shouldn't be.
So then, for sure, we didn't really fight because we believe it was a manipulation, you know. So otherwise, if we start fighting straight away, everything would have been different.
Unfolded,
you know, and the investigation would have started, you know. So, but I never really thought about it, you know. So the team as well. So even if you hear, they did by purpose, but I mean, you didn't have like a proof,
concrete,
you know, that it will put you in the situation to fight for that. So, but then in 2009, at the beginning of the season, so many people start to talk a little bit more, but also the proof was not there. So I had 2 times. One time I was in Bahrain for the race in Bahrain, and I meet Briatore in the restaurant. It was me, Nicolas Todd, and Briatore was having lunch with Jean Alesi. And then we stopped there. We had lunch with them. So, and I asked him if he did by purpose, you know, on that race. And so the way he answered to me
wasn't.
It was fake, you know, fake type. No, I would never do like that. Yeah. But I mean, the way, you know, his face, and I didn't really believe, you know. And then I thought that maybe something's you know, after that, I thought maybe something was,
fishy.
You know, fishing or whatever. And then another time I had, we decided it was more maybe June or May or June. I don't remember exactly the months, but I think maybe it was May or June. I don't remember. Anyway, we went to do a testing in go-kart in Italy, and I went together with Nelsinho Piquet.
Okay.
And I asked him, you know, in the plane that if he did that by purpose. And the way he answered to me was very similar to the way Flavio answered. Okay. You know, no, I would never do that. Yeah. So I would tell you, you know, but the way he kind of laughing and, you know, it was not, you know, genuine. Straightforward.
Yeah. Sounded scripted.
It was not straight, you know, fair, I would say. So then I started to be sure. Okay. And then a couple of months after he came out to say, and everything came out. So actually it worked like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I mean, I think that you know, sometimes it's very important to say that I didn't really decide after 15 years, you know, to go back and to put together, you know, a big team of lawyers from many different countries, you know, not only Brazil, but Brazil, England, France, Switzerland, USA. Maybe it's another one that I don't remember now.
That's a big team.
Yeah, that's a massive team.
And we put together a bunch of people, you know, a big team, you know, professional team to work and to understand if after 15 years, for sure everything came out after Bernie's interview. So because it's not fair. It's not fair for the sport, and it's not fair that maybe you lose a championship because of a manipulation race. Yeah. So that's why I decided to do that, because also my son came to me. He's 13 years old, and he said, "You are the champion, so you need to do something. You need to work, and you need to show that everything it was manipulated. It is not fair, and it is not fair for the sport, for the people. You know. So that's why we decided to do that, because we have some new news, you know, argument that after Bernie's interview came out, also after Charlie Whiting's interview about Max Mosley documentary, that they knew in 2008 and they didn't wanted to open the case, to investigate the case, not to destroy the name of Formula One. So it was really hard, and it was really serious, and it was not fair for me, because at the end, you know, I was the one that lost more compared to any other
driver.
So it was any other people that it was, you know,
in that championship,
that create that, you know, that manipulation.
Of course.
So if you see, Flavio Briatore had a punishment that he was out of Formula One forever. After 2 years, he gained, and he could work in Formula One. Yeah. Pat Simmons had a punishment for 5 years out of Formula One. After 2 years, he was already working in Formula One. Renault, didn't have anything. Renault had they supposed to be disqualified in the construction championship in case in the next 2 years they don't do anything wrong. To be honest, is and Alonso won the race, so he still have, you know, the points and the victory. And Nelsinho also, you know, after he didn't have any punishment. So it's fair. That's fair. So at the end, 1 year before McLaren steal the project of the Ferrari car, they had to pay a $100 million fine. They was disqualified for the construction championship. So and then you have the biggest manipulation case, and nothing happened.
Yep.
So, and I lose my championship.
Yeah, because of it.
So that is really why it's not fair for what's happened, you know. And we everything that we are doing, everything that I am doing, is fight for the justice, and that's it.
How do you deal with the comments or respond to the comments then? Because there's comments out there that are saying that Singapore race was one race. Lewis had performed better in similar races. How do you respond to those comments?
To be honest, I think it's very important that people understand exactly what's happened, you know, on that race, on that season. Before comments, you know, whatever thing you do, you have positive and negative. You know, this is not the most important thing. You know, but on that season we had an amazing fight. You know, actually in that season I won more race and more pole positions. You know, than Lewis. But the fight in the races, the mistakes, everything is part of the sport.
Yeah.
So the reliability problem. I had a problem, you know, in Budapest. You know, I was leading the race 3 laps to go. I had an engine failure.
Yeah.
So he had problems as well. You know, we also with the tires in Budapest. He crashed into the Kimi in the pit lane in Canada. I spun in Malaysia, you know, and I stopped there. I had maybe the worst race of my life in Silverstone that I spun many times during the race. It was raining massively. So actually, but this is a sport. This is part of the sport. So he had a very bad race in Interlagos as well. You know, at the end. But this is part of the sport. This doesn't matter. You know, this is we are there for that. You know, we are there for the trying to have an amazing race, but also mistakes from the team. I had a lot of mistakes from Ferrari on that year. But this is racing. This is part of the sport. Manipulation is not part of the sport.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Plain and simple.
And has Lewis ever reached out? I'm curious, like in the last 15 years, like has he ever reached out about 2008, talked about it? No, not at all.
Never discussed about that.
Right. Because it's interesting as well when you read some of the articles that are coming out. Obviously, if this goes through and if you become the champion for 2008, it might also open up the ability for drivers to go and contest a previous championship, right? So I know a lot of people have been mentioning 2021 then. Does Lewis get to potentially appeal that? So if that was to happen, would you support stuff like that?
I think, you know, the important thing also that people, sometimes they mix things which is completely different. One situation is completely different than another situation. My situation is a manipulation. My situation is something that he was investigated and he came out everything. So he was already investigated and we had already the result that he was definitely a race manipulated. So and the punishment and so many things around didn't happen in the way it's supposed to. This is a different thing. But what's happened in 2021, it was a different thing. It was for sure they need to prove if it was a mistake from the race director or the FIA people. This is the important thing, is to prove that it was actually a mistake. And if it was a mistake, for sure they have completely the possibility, you know, to fight. But also in football, you know, in the soccer, you know, in football, so many games that it was maybe the arbiter didn't give the penalty, or maybe the result was not what it's supposed to be because it was a mistake from the arbiter, you know, from the referee. So this happens in many sports and in many cases, you know. But maybe a team that he pays the referee and he came out, this was a corruption, this was a manipulation. And this is actually everything in the many different sports was fixed, you know. And the game was they canceled the result on that game. So they put the team in the B series, you know. They put the file
just consequences.
So this is a completely different thing, you know. So for example, you know, if in 2021 come out a situation that Red Bull pays Michael Masi, and he came out and, you know, they investigated, he came out really like that, then is a similar situation what's happened to me. So at the end, you need to separate and you need to investigate things in the right way. Before you said, okay, so if Massa win, everyone needs to, needs to fight, and they will win, they will get the championship back. So it's complete two different things. And my case was investigated. Yeah. My case came out that it was the biggest manipulation in Formula One in one race.
Well, let's move on to the fun stuff. All right. But on the fun stuff here, when we talk about the two different eras, your racing and what we're seeing in today's time, do you think with the bigger, heavier cars, different engine regulations that is happening now, do you think you would have more fun now compared to the era you would be driving in?
I like the downforce. I like the way the cars, the grip on the corners, braking. This is something that I was always, very, very interested in. Big tires. This is something that I really enjoy, but the car is too heavy. So the Formula One arrived in the situation that the car is massively heavy. One example, when I finished my last year, it was 2017, the car was already quite heavy. Similar as now, but for sure we didn't have the floor, was completely different. But we had already a good amount of downforce, but with a very heavy car. So then I did an event the year after I retired. I did an event in Suzuka, and I drove my car from 2006. Wow. The car I won, actually that car that I won in Brazil.
That's epic.
I drove that car in Suzuka track, and I was so happy to drive that car. It was so light. The change of direction, the reaction of the car compared to the car that I still have in mind. It was really, really nice. So at the end, I think maybe a good change would have been to make the cars lighter. And that it's not easy. So, but it's possible. So at the end, I'm sure they are already doing a big change for 2026, and the cars will be lighter, but not enough. So it needs to be a much better work on that to make the fun for the drivers get back to what I was saying before.
And did you find it difficult to go from F1 to the Brazilian stock car, like different driving style, different strategy? Like was it hard to cope with those changes, or like was it easier?
I think actually as I said before, so I really I was always very, very strong when the downforce was there. So I really enjoyed that. For my driver style as well was the best. And Formula E has no downforce, zero. So stock car, they used to have a car, which is the same car 2 years before, that it was a lot more downforce. It was like 3-4 seconds quicker than how it is now, and they remove everything. So I'm struggling, because of the condition of the car in the very low downforce. I'm not really great for my driver style. But stock car will have a new car, not next year, but the year after, which completely different situation with much more downforce and much more the way I really like to drive. So I missed a little bit that. So that's why I decided also to stop with Formula E, because I was not happy with the car. Really no downforce. It was bad tires as well, road tires, they were using. So at the end, I was not really interesting. So
Last question for Q1. I want to get a amazing community question. So we had a little poll on social media, and we picked a question from social media at 7nosewheels. That's the handle. Interesting. Asked Felipe, would you ever consider making a race start in NASCAR or the Xfinity Cup?
Actually, I really enjoy, NASCAR. I was not really a big fan, like watching races, all the time. But I really enjoyed the event, the show. Atmosphere, and I think that was really something that it was good, to have that show in Formula One on the time in the past. Now I think it's improved a lot. The show in Formula One, the people, a lot of people, in the track and watching. But I mean, I never raced in that type of track. I never did even a testing with the Formula Indy or whatever. So I don't know. I don't know. I think that's really completely different. Actually, a driver wants to try everything.
They want to try it all.
Whenever you have the wheels and the steering wheel, the throttle and the brakes, you fun. You enjoy. But it never really be was part of my decisions.
Yeah.
Also Formula Indy, because definitely my family was always against Formula Indy.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
For sure, not
Yeah.
before.
Oh, okay.
When I still was racing karting,
Yeah.
because on that time, Indy or Formula One was the same thing for me. I wanted
Yeah.
to be professional. I wanted to go wherever I have the chance.
Yeah.
So I was ready for everything. But then after I was racing Formula One, after I did my career in Formula One, my family said, why you risk your life in the So then I always follow anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
All right. So we might or might not see him in
might.
NASCAR.
Question mark.
You never know.
Q1, guys, I don't even know if we need to ask, but
Yeah.
green or purple here?
What you want?
I give it purple. Give it
Purple sector?
Purple
Yeah.
sector. All right,
Yeah.
we're through
Okay.
to Q2. Stay tuned for Q2 coming up.
Yeah.
Hey guys, hope you're enjoying this episode. We want to take a bit of time to give a big shout out to one of our partners, AG1. And AG1, by the way, has a ton of health benefits that we want to unpack very quickly.
Yeah, I honestly think AG1 is one of the best products out there. The fact that we're always on the go, even with this podcast, we're constantly traveling. AG1 is so easy to use. One little scoop into a bottle of water, shake it up in your morning, drink, and it's all there. 75 probiotics, minerals.
75?
75. Everything you need in one little scoop. And it's gluten-free,
Yep.
dairy-free, and allergy-free.
Yeah.
How can it get better than that?
Well, I'll tell you.
Okay.
I haven't been using AG1 for as long as you, Henny. I've been using it maybe for now 2-3 weeks. I have actually seen, as a person that has digestion issues, I've been able to break down my food way better.
That's crazy.
And it's no surprise. AG1 has digestive enzymes,
Yep.
the probiotics you mentioned. It helps with digestion.
Yep.
Not only that, because I'm digesting my food properly, I'm also sleeping better.
Yes.
And because I'm sleeping better, I'm actually seeing my skin. It's smoother,
Glowing.
less acne, less
Yep.
heat rashes.
Yep.
Overall, loving my experience with AG1.
If you want to take ownership of your health, try AG1 now and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. Go to drinkag1.com/tracklimits. That is drinkag1.com/tracklimits.
Welcome back to the Track Limits podcast. We are now getting to Q2 with Felipe. Felipe, you felt good about Q1?
Yeah, I use only one set of tires, so I managed to to do a good lap time. So now I'm ready for 2 sets of tires.
Amazing. Here we go. I am curious, and I ask this to every driver. Growing up, was this always the plan? Or was there like another career that you were thinking about as well at the same time? No.
Well, I love football, soccer,
Soccer.
I was always my dream was always to be a racing car driver. I started with the motocross when I was like maybe 6 years old.
Oh, wow.
I had a little 50cc Yamaha.
Yeah.
And I was, my dad was bringing me to the, football field, cycling tracks, to go with the bike, with the motocross. And I wanted to be a motocross driver. But then after he said, you know what, I think it's better 4 wheels. I was started to jump, follow, get hurt. And he said it's better 4 wheels instead of 2 wheels. So when he bring me, to drive the go-kart for the first time, I was like, sure, this is what I want to do for my whole life. And it's amazing because since the first time I drove, since the first race I did, I had that in mind. And this is what I want. And it was, it started from there and it never finished because that was really my dream.
And your dad was, it sounds very supportive.
Yeah,
very supportive. That's great.
And reflecting on your karting days, what was like your cherished memories from that time, or even the lessons you learned that you'll still use today in racing?
I think everything. So karting is really, really important for all of the drivers. It doesn't matter the category you go, but I think the school you have in karting is the most important thing. So it prepare you in the right way. You learn a lot, how to drive, because at the end, the lines, the way you drive in karting is different than the cars, yes, but the reaction, the speed, the G-force, and so many things is very, very close. So at the end, I learned a lot. I had the difficult times also in the go-kart because as I said, I never had the the money to have the best equipment.
Yeah.
So I always had to do more than what I could, you know. So, and I think that was really a good help, you know, for me. But definitely I could have win a lot more championship if I had, you know, the money or the best equipment as well. So, but I think that was very good for my experience. It was very good for my learning. And so definitely when I start in the cars, I was much better than many other go-kart drivers that was winning everything, you know, but in the cars, not. Because maybe I think the experience, you know, the mentality they had, I was a lot more ready, you know, for maybe others.
Yeah, and racing in even F1, you race for 3 teams: Sauber, Williams, Ferrari. Take us through their cultural differences and the leadership and everything you've learned through those whole process as those teams.
It was very different mentality, you know, inside the teams, because especially Ferrari is different than all of the others. So it's a very Italian mentality. But when you're working, it's similar because at the end you're working for the same thing. You know, you try to get the best. You try to take the best out of the engineers, the mechanics, the team to put in the car. You know. So, and I think the language of working was the same, was English. Mentality was different. So definitely Ferrari never saw the car dirty, you know. And Sauber, I never saw the car dirty, and Ferrari was dirty all the time.
Okay.
So the mentality on that was completely different, you know. In Sauber, you never see the mechanics, you never hear the mechanics talking, you know. They were very quiet, you know, the way you work. In Ferrari, you need just to tell them to stop talking, you know. so then it was very different. And then in Williams, it was very English mentality, nice, really nice. I mean, I had a lot of fun, you know, working for Williams. But it completely different also, you know, the mentality, the way, you know, they are compared to Sauber team, but also Ferrari team. So they were a lot different, very straight, but very, sometimes, you know, you need to be a little bit more clever sometimes, you know, in the bad way, which this you had a lot in Ferrari. Not, you know, wrong way, but like, you know, you need to
find the loop.
Find the, you know, the loop to work on that side. So, but I mean, I think it was a great fun, you know, it was a great, you know, feeling, you know, to be working different, you know, types of team from different countries as well.
Yeah. And it sounded like, I know you were talking about...
But with the engineer, it was always similar because the way you're working is like similar. You know?
And it sounded like when you were talking about the Brazilian Grand Prix in Q1 that you did, as a kid, have a childhood ambition of wanting to become a Formula One driver. I'm guessing Ayrton Senna then had to be a hero for you growing up.
Yes and not.
Oh, okay.
Because he was definitely a hero for me. I was really crazy, you know, for Ayrton Senna. But then I met him. I was like maybe 8 years old. So I met him in the place. It was a yacht club in Brazil. Okay. I was there having a holiday with my parents, and we were having like a dinner, you know, in the restaurant. It was my parents with some friends. It was me and another 2 kids. And then the guy from the restaurant, like the waiter, said, and he said, Ayrton Senna is arriving. I said, who? Ayrton Senna is arriving. On that boat that is, you know, sparking is Ayrton Senna.
Wow.
I said, no. You're joking? No, it's Ayrton Senna. He's arrived. Okay. And then, I mean, we were really excited. It was not really a lot of people, you know, it was almost quite empty. So we took the paper, you know, with the pen.
Yeah.
We went there in the boat, you know, to wait him comes out, you know. And he came out with a girl.
Yeah.
Maybe we were unlucky, you know, with the situation, you know. But he came out with the girl, and he didn't want to give an autograph to us.
Oh, wow.
So that for me was really bad because, I mean, oh my God.
You look up to the person.
Yeah, and he's coming out of the boat, you know, and he's not giving autograph to us. That was really, I was sad, you know.
Right.
So... For sure, you know, I was still supporting him. I remember when he died, I was crying really a lot.
Yeah.
So, but I missed, a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe as I said, I cannot say he was like that. So maybe I was not lucky on that moment, that situation. But I learned a lot also for what's happened to me. Because I never thought I was going to go to become a Formula 1 driver. I never thought I was going to be a Ferrari driver,
Yep.
But in all my career, definitely sometimes you are in the place that is a lot of people wants to have autograph and you're trying to give, to the people. But I never said no for a kid. I never said no. Even if doesn't matter where I was, I never said no for a kid, because that was, it was impossible not to remember when a kid was asking that to me, for what, I passed, when I was a kid.
Yeah. I want to take you back now, 2009 Hungarian Grand Prix. You had a very bad crash.
Yeah.
How did you deal with the mental challenges and the physical challenges in coming back into the sport?
It was really tough, because it was an accident that, first of all, I don't remember. This is the positive. So even if sorry to say, but even if I lose my life, there, which was close, I was not going to remember anything. I was not going to suffer because I don't remember, for what's happened. So, but after that, when I wake up, when I have to do another operation to put a plate, because I lost all of the bone, from here, from this part. So I had to put a plate, to make what the bone is, is doing. And but I think after that was tough, because I wanted to drive, I wanted to race, I wanted to get back to the car, and I couldn't. I have to wait the second part of the season. So that was tough, to pass through physically, mentally, especially more mentally, because I think I could have drive maybe the last race of the season, the two last race of the season, but the doctor said no, because maybe if I have an accident, it would have been not good for what's happened to me. So I think mentally was a lot more tough, more difficult than physically.
But you were always driven to get back into the seat. You were never
thought
it's over or whatever.
It's over. For sure, I had in mind that anything will change or not. But I always wanted to be back in the car. So, and I managed to race on many more seasons. Many people say that you were never the same as before, because I never won a race. Actually, they steal a victory, in 2010 from me. But I never won again in Formula 1. So if change something, for me, is very difficult to say. I don't really feel that, the way I was thinking, the way I was, the feeling and everything else, it was no different. But if change anything, I don't know.
Yeah.
Difficult to say.
Yeah, and talking even about the mental space, for an experienced driver like you, what advice would you give someone like Logan Sargent or Nick DeVries who are having a tough time trying to figure out how to...
I had also a tough time, and it's very difficult, sometimes when you have a tough time and you working really hard in the team, you try to show, that you are good, you can do the job, but then maybe you lose the help. Sometimes when you say something, the team is not really... You understand when the team is really trust you or not. And this is the worst, and especially for my mentality, the way I am, maybe by being Latin. So we feel a lot, I was, having a very, very tough time in Ferrari. Also because I feel that maybe the team was not really respecting exactly what I needed and what I was saying. So, and I think that's tough, but it's only you that can change that. It's only you that can maybe change the way of your working to show the people that you can do the job. So, and I, in the whole career, I think everybody had a tough time that you need really to pass through, and I think that maybe that's really something that they need to have that in mind. So definitely Sargent, and also DeVries, it was the first opportunity they have in Formula 1. It's not that, they won race, they won this, and then they're having a tough time. So it's even more difficult because then you need to have the result at the beginning. You need to show who you are at the beginning, and it's not happening in the right way. So, but it's only the result, and the answer for that is coming only from that.
Yourself.
At the end,
You were teammates with Michael Schumacher. I'd love to learn, did you learn anything from him? Was he incredible to work with? I would imagine, right?
Well, Michael was, first of all, for everything that happened with Senna, Michael was like, I was really a big fan of him, and I had the chance, to learn a lot with him. First of all, in 2003, when I was Ferrari test driver, I was going to all the races. I was participating to all the meetings. I was in the radio, watching him, what he's doing, the way he's working. And I think for me, it was a big learning, because it shows that you need to be calm, but you need to be, you need to be strong to say what you want. And he was really good on that, to, work with the pressure in the right way. So I think it was a massive improvement that I had, with him in 2003. And then after, I become his teammate 2006, and he was really, and I had a lot more experience, by having another 2 years with Sauber.
Yep.
So, and I think that was really a great moment, that I had, especially by being in front of him in many races, also by winning more than one race on that season, being on pole 3 times or in front of him in tracks like Suzuka, for example, that he was like dominant. It was his track, dominant. So that was really a very great experience. And also he decided to retire, and I remember so well when he came to me, he said, I will retire. I have my reasons, for that, to try to do other things. So I think I had my time in Formula One. So to stay also more with my family, with my kids. But I'm so happy that you will run, you will stay with the team and you will run on my car. So that for me was really something that I never expected, to hear. And we were very close. So definitely it was a great experience, that I had with him.
And you've also had teammates. I mean, I know recently you went on the record to say that Alonso, for example, was your most difficult teammate.
Yeah.
What makes a teammate difficult? I'm curious.
Well, definitely in terms of talent, I would say also Michael, Fernando, they had a very similar talent, But with Fernando, it was a different feeling. I mean, we are there. I want to be in front of him. He wants to be in front of me. So the working, it was a little bit different than me with Michael, trying to learn everything I could, with him. So, and I think Fernando, I never had any problem with him outside of the car. Apart of the fight that we had in 2007. So, but that was a different thing. I never had any problem with him. I mean, I always get well, with him as a person. But he was not what he was telling me. He was not what he was telling the team. So he was always the typical way of working, using his power. He has a lot of power, and he was trying to get the power he has, to put everything on his side. And I think that was splitting the team in the middle. So this was not really great, the way he was working. But he's like that, at the end. And I think the only problem is that, splitting the team in the middle was not good for the result at the end, So, and I think that to beat him, you need to be in your day. But I was in my day in many races, But, something was happened that it was not... it was, putting me in the difficult mentality condition, mental condition. Of course. That I was making mistakes, or maybe, that something was happening that it was not great. It was not really very... not fair, I cannot say they did anything wrong, with me, but the way he working, the way the team was looking to him, he was really not
Comfortable.
you know. So that for me was and it's also, for example, I mean, I remember once we started to developing the simulator because the Red Bull has a much better simulator and even McLaren compared to Ferrari. So we were working really, really hard in the simulator, me and him. And then suddenly arrived in the middle of the season, he said, I don't want to go to the simulator anymore because this doesn't do anything. It doesn't help anything, the simulator. So he decided to stop to work in the simulator. And I was still working, you know, also because I was not in the great shape on that season. We didn't have a good car. So I was working really hard. And then suddenly we go to Singapore. He win the race in Singapore. After the race, Montezemolo, which was our president, came out in the media to say, it's unbelievable to see Fernando, how much he worked with the team. He's every week in the factory, in the simulator, meetings. He's every week, and he was not even going to the. Wow. So at the end, this is something that you know, destroy you completely mentally. You know, and this is, you know, what I said. It was not only in the track. I mean, he's an amazing driver. The talent he has is unbelievable. But you know, all of the other details, you know, that you need to have to be comfortable. You know.
And do you feel like that's also happening to Red Bull right now, currently, with their two drivers?
It's very difficult to say when you are not there, you know, inside the team. You know, I would say what's happening in Red Bull is that they have maybe a driver that can beat all of the records. You know, a driver that is amazing what Max is doing. So when he started in Formula One, I was even a little bit hard sometimes with him because he was doing a lot of stupid mistakes. But he was too young. So I was doing mistakes, you know, when I was my first year, when I started in Formula One, I was too young as well. Not 16 years old, I was 20, but I was too young as well. But I think you don't see him making any mistake. You don't see him doing anything after he won the championship because after it was a big fight, you know, with Lewis. I think he can be the number one driver in the history of Formula One.
I agree.
So if things, you know, nothing really big things happens, you know.
If he doesn't retire early.
If he doesn't retire, or maybe, I mean, doesn't really hope that anything wrong, you know, happens in terms of accident or whatever. But I think if things is going like that, he can beat all of the record. But it's also true that, I mean, they have the best car, yes. But Perry is not, you know, even getting podiums. You know, even to be on the podium, he's struggling. So at the end, why? It's something that maybe Max is that much better than all of the others, then especially compared to him. Something's happened inside. I can really, I don't believe. You know, Red Bull has no reason to hurt the other. To hurt the other driver. You know, because they know they have the best driver. So even if they have a car that is even a little bit better for Checo, I think Max will beat him. You know, because he is the best. So at the end, Red Bull has no reason to give something more to Max compared to Checo.
Last question for Q2. We asked our community once again for a question. We have at Selassie. Let's go with Selassie. At Selassie _ This was actually a very requested question. A couple of other people also said it. If you could take over as team principal for any F1 team, which team would it be, and who would be your two drivers?
So if I need to choose a team principal and two drivers,
you are the team principal.
I am the team principal.
You choose the team and the two drivers.
Oh, that's really hard. Because at the end, you need to have two drivers that works well with each other. Team. So for sure, if you put Max and Lewis, which everybody will say, I want to have Max and Lewis, will not work. No, you know, because at the end they will fight. They will destroy them to the relationship. They will destroy the team, and it will not work. So who will be my two drivers? So maybe Max and Lando Norris.
I was going to say Max and Lando would make a great making.
No, I don't know.
You think the friendship?
I don't know how it will be the relation because at the end one needs to win.
Yeah.
So, but I think it's two drivers that I really enjoy and I really like.
So you would take Red Bull and those two drivers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Christian Horner.
He's going for you.
Q2, green, purple,
Henny, I'll leave this one to you.
Let's do.
purple.
Oh,
but maybe it can be interesting to have Lewis and Charles as well.
Oh, yeah.
Lewis and Charles.
That is
Okay.
also a rumor
Yeah.
that's going around. But
I'd say that would make a good driving because I think
Yeah.
Charles there'd be a good mutual respect
Yeah.
between both drivers.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
anyway,
Well, Toto, he's coming after you too.
Purple sector, we are now
Yeah.
going to see
All right.
if Felipe Massa can put it on pole once again in the rapid fire round coming soon. Hey guys, hope you're enjoying this episode. Henny, a couple of weeks ago, I came to your room, I remember, and you were reading an article and you weren't getting a lot of pop-up ads. How?
It's called NordVPN. Been using it for a while now.
Okay, backtrack.
Yep.
Why do you use a VPN?
I mean, for quite a few reasons. Number one, it protects all my information while I'm surfing the web from third-party cookies and you never know, unknown people. Then the second thing is when you are traveling or whether even you're just out in a coffee shop and you're on an open Wi-Fi network, all your data can be stolen if it's not encrypted and a hidden IP address. So those are two main reasons. And when I travel, I love watching shows. So I have to turn on that VPN and watch my favorite shows.
I love that. I mean, I know you're a big Marvel fan,
Huge.
so those shows help. And did you know, by the way, with NordVPN in particular, there's some very exclusive benefits that you don't get with other providers, whether 5,800 servers that NordVPN has, the ability to service over 60 countries around the world, and reliable encryption.
Whoa.
The encryption software that NordVPN uses is used by governments, national agencies around the world.
Wow.
Think about that now in the hands of consumers. That's
Exactly.
pretty powerful.
Yep. And you can get an exclusive NordVPN deal using our link at www.nordvpn/tracklimits. And it's a risk-free with 30-day money-back guarantee.
Welcome back to the Track Limits podcast. We are with Felipe Massa, who took a purple in Q1, a purple in Q2. Felipe, you're feeling good for Q3? A bit nervous,
I
maybe?
feel great.
He's on a roll. He's on a roll.
Relaxed. All right.
Relax to do the purple.
Yes, let's go.
Yeah.
Rapid fire round. Hopefully we get some answers. Full of fire and rapid. First question. Your favorite track to race on?
Many. You have also many different tracks, But the favorite, Suzuka.
Yes.
It used to be Spa.
Okay.
But in the past, Rouge was a corner. Now it's not a corner anymore. So at the end is I will get
Suzuka.
Yeah.
What's one regulation change you would make or institute into F1, whether it's reverse grid, double points on the last race?
I think reverse grid is interesting. To put the people happy, but it's not fair. At the end, I mean, the best is the best, and this is it needs to be like that. So otherwise, you're just winning a championship only for the show.
Yeah.
And Formula One is not. We need the show, but at the end you have so many manufacturers working, and this is not fair. To put weight in the car or maybe to reverse the grid. So I think maybe it's not the right thing to do. But I think the rules on the technical side could have been better. As I said before, a lighter car that would have been interesting. To change. In Formula One.
Which current F1 driver would you trust to drive you around the track blindfolded?
I don't understand. Sorry.
So they're blindfolded.
Yeah.
Who would you trust to drive your track blindfolded? To drive you around the track?
I think maybe I will. I'm not scared, to be honest. By being next, to a top driver.
Okay.
Maybe in Formula One now. Maybe I will take away maybe 4 drivers, 3 or 4 drivers from the grid that maybe I'm not interested to go next. It's better not to say the name. But definitely, I mean, I would choose Max. But I don't want to be blind. I want to be looking.
You want to see what's going on
because I think he's amazing what he's doing. Even in the rain, doesn't matter. I will go next to him.
Cool. Right now, the greatest.
But I will go next to, as I said, to the level is
Except
really
those
high.
4.
We'll leave it to our imagination.
The
talking
level in
about this.
Formula One is really, really high.
No, that's fair.
Okay. The greatest driver of all time, in your opinion, right now?
The?
Greatest driver of all time.
Well, I mean, for sure you have drivers that is part of the history, like Michael, like Ayrton Senna. maybe Fangio. I never met him, but I'm sure he was doing, an amazing job. We have so many other drivers like maybe Jack Stewart. Cannot forget what Lewis did, in Formula One, and has most of the records, At the end, it's a tough one. Max for sure can be the number one. Max for sure, he has all of the talent, around to really destroy all the record. But as I said, I mean, even if he does, all of the others that I mentioned, will stay.
Yeah, this
this is, I think it's even in the football. So you have
Ronaldo and Messi.
Pelé, and then Ronaldo. You cannot say, it's a different time. You cannot say, no, Pelé was definitely.
Yeah.
Maybe for my dad will say, it was Pelé.
That, yeah.
But maybe a kid or me can say, Ronaldo was, Cristiano Ronaldo, Messi, Mbappe. So many players, has their own different times. So at the end is this is the good thing.
Of course. Okay, I'm going to show you a photo. This is a photo of you, Fernando, and Lance Stroll. What was your first impression of Lance Stroll?
Well, actually, I met him very early, as you could see.
Yeah.
Even before Fernando, because when I was racing with Michael, I remember I was always I've been to his dad's house in Montreal many times. He was bringing the steak from his farm, sending the private plane, to the farm to pick up, the steaks, and bringing, for this dinner. So he was already, like that. So, but Lando, I always had a very great relationship with him. Also with his dad, So definitely they were really happy to have me, as a teammate, of Lando.
Or Lance.
Of Lance. Sorry. So, I really helped him a lot. So I was really close to him to try to really to make him better.
Yeah.
He was better in the races than in the qualifying. The qualifying he was really, really bad. Yeah. So he was really out of the level, In the race he was much better driver, much more consistent. He did some good races. I was really unlucky in races that I could have finished a lot in front of him in the championship. But in this race, it was a race that we could score good points. And actually, I had a retirement, or I had a puncture. I had a puncture in Barcelona. I was fifth. I could finish that race fifth. And I had a retirement in Baku when he finished in the podium, but I was in front of him. Yeah. I could even fight for the victory on that race. So, and I have a retired problem. The only thing that I didn't like is that we had a great relationship, and then suddenly I retired. I was doing other things, and then they asked him if he learned anything with me, if I was good with him. He said no. He was just another normal teammate. He didn't do anything to help. I didn't do anything to help him, which this was not nice, to hear.
Of course.
But I never had a problem with anybody, so I still see him. I say hello, and but if you say he is there for his talent, no, he's there for the possibility and for the money of his dad. This is clear.
If you had to choose another sport, what would you be drawn to?
Well, I love football.
Yeah.
For sure, I play some. Especially my son is crazy for football. We play all the time, we with him. But I mean, I didn't have the talent, to be a football player. So at the end is, I'm doing what I'm doing. I did, what always was a dream, to do. I like tennis.
Okay.
I play tennis twice a week.
Oh, nice.
Because I think it's much easier to get hurt in football than in tennis. Tennis is really, really nice. I love to play. Very, very tough sport. But I'm not. For sure, I watch some finals, interesting. But I'm not really crazy, to be there watching the games. I like to play more than to watch it. Yeah. I know Nadal, I know Djokovic. I met also Federer in Miami race,
epic.
actually, in Formula One, and he was really, really nice.
Yeah.
But actually, I love to play, tennis as well.
We should have brought the tennis
We're
racket.
gonna get a game in.
But for sure, I'm crazy. Football, I like to play, but I like to watch it.
it too.
Especially with my son, we always going to
That's good.
the stadium, to watch the games for our team, which is São Paulo.
Yeah.
So we have our place there in the stadium.
That's
I love
amazing.
it. What's the most over-asked question you get? Like a question you always get from journalists or...
I don't know. I don't remember, but it was when I was in Formula One. It was always similar, always about the team, about the car, about the, But so I don't remember,
Yep.
the most
Over-asked.
Maybe it's this question I'm about to ask you. Who's your favorite teammate you ever raced with?
I had many great. Actually, I have many world champion teammates, in my career. So I had a tough time, definitely.
For sure.
But if I need to choose, it would be Michael. So because it was different, the way I was in the team, working with him, learning and having also the best, someone that it was really important for me. So I will choose him.
Michael.
What piece of F1 memorabilia would you love to own, or do you currently own?
The one I'm still waiting.
Ah.
The trophy for the World Championship.
Worded
And English, the only thing I'm missing.
Yeah, that's it. We're done. That's perfect.
The only thing I'm missing.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, we will fight until the end to have that trophy.
Brilliant. In Williams, you teamed up with Valtteri Bottas,
Yeah.
young. Do you think he lived up to his potential, yes or no?
Do you think, sorry?
He'd lived up to his potential.
Yeah,
Yep.
for sure. Valtteri had a similar situation, getting to the best team, but also having to show that he's better than, like Lewis Hamilton, So I'm sure he's a great driver. He's really a top driver. If you see that, he's still running, racing Formula One, doing, what he's supposed to do. But maybe something was missing, to be a world champion. But he's a top driver, definitely, and he deserves to be there. And he's a very nice guy as well. So it is a driver that I have a great also relationship. So.
Yeah.
Very nice.
This is another yes or no. Are you a fan of more races being added onto the calendar?
No, I think it's too much.
Yeah.
I understand, that Formula One is growing. The business is so important.
Yeah.
Formula One never had that business that is happening now. So, but it's too much. I think maybe 21 will be the
max.
It will be the good number. So 23, 24 is already too much, in my view.
Yeah. Perfect.
What's something most people don't know about you? Like a hidden fact, a unique...
Well, I always try to show, the way, because some people, that what they show in the Instagram or in the TikTok is sometimes, you have people that what they show is not what they are. It's
not reality,
It's not real.
Yeah.
I always try to be real. I always try to say or to do something that it is what I like. It is what I'm doing, and I think I always try to pass what I am, and I had I always had a great relationship, feeling with the fans, with the people, because I was always trying, to do what I am at the end,
Yep. Okay.
Good.
Your most embarrassing moment in a Grand Prix weekend ever. Can you remember a funny moment from a weekend?
I had many.
Tell us one.
Well, it was maybe one race. It was 2000 and I don't remember the year. Maybe 2011 or something like that. That I was in Monaco. I wanted to go to the toilet, but number one, not number two, and I couldn't really hold anymore. Yeah. But the race was happening. It was like 15 laps to go, and I couldn't hold anymore. So I was hoping for a safety car because I couldn't do when you are driving,
especially in Monaco, right?
you cannot. You can try, you cannot do it. But every braking, you know, the belts, it was like destroying me. So then it was like 10 laps to go, safety car. It was the best moment.
You could see the smile through your helmet.
Oh, yeah. Your engineer is like, "Are you okay?" No, I am great.
He's like, I am free again.
I love it. I love that.
Oh man, next question. If you could have a superpower, what would it be?
I don't know. I think I had, a great moment, a great time. Even in the difficult times, I learn a lot. So now it's easy to say, I would change this, I would change that, I would put, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Flying?
I don't know.
Maybe flying?
This type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe flying.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
maybe flying.
Yeah.
If you had to bring one team back from the past, one F1 team, which team would you bring back?
I think most of the teams are still there.
somehow.
The top teams. Maybe Lotus.
Yes.
Did love their livery.
Maybe Lotus. Yeah, I always enjoy Lotus.
Yeah, their logo is beautiful.
Many Brazilian drivers was racing for Lotus as well. So Senna, Senna, Piquet.
Yeah.
So I think it was a great. Yeah.
Love it.
Imagine you get back into F1 for 2024. Just imagine. Who would you want as your teammate?
Ricardo.
Okay, cool.
Okay,
We had
that'd be good.
He's a very nice guy. It will be fun.
Yep.
Because also now, if I'm coming back, I mean, I think you need to be fun.
Yeah.
So, but I will not come back. So don't worry.
Okay.
I support him. I hope he gets
Back.
back soon, and I hope he can really show
Yep.
what he is as a driver. Because I think he had a difficult time. We were talking about difficult times. He had a very tough time. I think it would be nice to see him enjoying, himself, because even if he always trying to show that he's enjoying, but I'm sure when he's comfortable inside the car, he will show a lot more excitement, for the people.
Yeah.
And he had a lot of fans, so it would be nice there.
Yeah. I think we know this too, but who would you not want as a teammate?
I don't have any problem with anybody,
No.
to be honest.
Okay.
No, to be honest,
Not
I
Max.
don't- no.
You know what, Max?
Well, for sure not Max for that point. Definitely not Max.
That's going to be a tough
Yeah,
one.
for that point, I'm sure it will be tough to be his teammate. Yeah.
Okay, next one. What celebrity or athlete do you think would be a good fit for an F1 driver?
Oh God, that's tough. Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
He is a Formula One driver.
Yeah.
So it'd be good to have him as a teammate.
There you go.
There you go.
We got
Thinking
it.
ahead.
Yeah.
All right, last two questions. You're stranded on an island. Which three drivers or team principals are you bringing to that island?
We have drinks there.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Unlimited
Fun
supply.
time. Fun time.
If we have drinks, so I will bring Daniel, Ricardo, and Kimi.
Yeah, we heard the
Iceman.
story.
With drinks, Kimi. Without drinks, no. I will leave Kimi out.
And then one more. Who do we have? We have Kimi,
Daniel,
Daniel,
one
and
more.
one
You
more.
need one more.
One more.
Yeah, three.
For sure, we choose Michael. We had a lot of fun together. Can I choose Michael?
Yeah.
Of
100%.
course,
Yeah.
of course.
There you go.
Nice. Okay. Last question. You're writing an autobiography on yourself. Which one resonates with you the best? We got the Daredevil, the Dreamcatcher, the Free Spirit, or the Hardest Worker
As a title.
of your book.
So can you repeat the
Yep.
dream?
The four. So we got the Daredevil, the Dreamcatcher, the Free Spirit, or the Hardest Worker
Only one I need to choose.
as your title.
Maybe hard worker or dream
Catcher.
catcher.
Okay.
Yeah, dream catcher.
Dreamcatcher. Hey.
Brilliant.
Okay.
The hardest working dream catcher.
Q3 rapid fire, purple,
Boom,
all the way
purple.
through.
We
I'm
got to
pretty
do
sure,
it. Yeah,
guys.
yeah, purple. He smoked it.
Pole position by
Oh.
5/10.
Yeah.
there we
Sorry, we don't have the trophy with us.
Thank you so much, Felipe, for coming
Thank you.
on.
Yes.
Well, it was really great. I think I think this is really nice, because you guys doing an amazing job. So it's great, this, because at the end we are here, to talk about, even if I'm still racing Formula One, I think this is really good, because you can, have time to talk about everything, not only from Formula One, from your, but from your life. And I think you guys doing a really good question. So congratulations. So I really
Thank you.
hope the
We
best
appreciate that.
success.
Wow.
And it was, thank you very much. So it was great.
Amazing.
thank you.
And
Amazing.
just for your fans, especially back in Brazil, would you like to say anything in Portuguese for them? We'd love to have you just say, anything you'd like to
Bom,
them.
obrigado a todos. Um grande prazer estar aqui com vocês. E eu acho que é muito legal estar, pelo menos, contando um pouco da minha história. E tamo junto. Valeu. E é isso.
Amazing.
We'll put the caption.
I did not understand. It sounded nice. Thank you so much again, Felipe, for coming on. Guys, if you enjoy this episode, give it a like, share it. Make sure to follow Felipe on social media. We're going to put all his handles down below. And I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We'll see you guys in the next one.